Hi there, my name is Shannon, and I'm Willamette Week's Music and Visual Arts Editor. I'm here today with Jimi Biron, who is McMiniman's music director. McMiniman's was one of over 40 venues here in Oregon that signed a letter to Kate Brown earlier this month, urging for industry-specific reopening guidelines for the live events industry. Jimi, how's it going today?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm all right. Thanks for taking the time to talk to me.
You bet. My pleasure.
So to start off, any updates from the governor's office about the issues brought up in the letter?
Nothing specific. We've had some email exchanges to try to get clarification on the current low risk. I'm still a little bit confused on the guidance because they talk about in low risk outdoor venues can operate at 50% capacity. And there's a guidance overlay, and I'm not exactly sure. I'm still trying to get clarity if that's to social gatherings or if it's to restaurant rules. The real question is it 50% capacity or is it 50% capacity? However, it needs to be in pods and groups. And if so, what's the distance between the groups? How many people are the max number of people that can be in a pod or a group? And because that will really determine what we're able to do for our capacity.
Right. So what's the scenario that would work best for, say, Edgefield right now?
Great. The scenario that would work best for Edgefield is the scenario that works best for everybody across the country. And that is at a set time, whether that's 30 days or 45 days after the vaccine is available to anyone that wants it, that there should be no more capacity restrictions. At that point, it becomes an individual choice, and it shouldn't be a roadblock to business. Now, if there are requirements, hygiene or mask wearing or things like that, that would make sense. But at the point that everybody is essentially vaccinated, there's no more reason to have anything closed, in my opinion.
So are you considering at all anything like, say, what the Waterfront Blues Festival is doing, like with those little pods that people are going to have to be in?
No, I've spoken to them. They're great, and they're going to have a great event. Waterfront Blues Festival is going to be excellent this year, although a little bit different. But we can't really, at a capacity of 300, there's no way to really do the type of events or type of artists that we traditionally would bring to Edgefield.
Yeah, I did want to talk about the capacity issue a little bit because that also applies to club venues where some smaller club venues have reopened at 25% capacity. But why wouldn't that work for, say, the Crystal Ballroom?
Well, again, if we had, I don't want to sound like I'm complaining. I'm just if we had specific guidance that told us how to do it, that might be something that we could consider. We had correspondence with the governor's office earlier in November asking about, will we be looking at a pod model, or would we be looking at a vaccine passport, or any of those type of scenarios that are playing out across the country. And we were told no, that there wouldn't be any proposals, wouldn't be considered, and that it's simply following the guidelines as they are currently written or amended to be, which is low risk, 50% capacity, and then those questions that I had, that I still have. Yeah.
So now that people are getting vaccinated, do you have any plans yet on how you're going to be handling the extreme backlog of postponed shows?
Yeah, good. That's a great question, Shannon. Optimistic that we're open in the fall. And now I'm shifting from Edgefield to Crystal Ballroom. We are booked every single day. And so there will be days that there will be 2 concerts in the same day. And we work with bands directly. We also work with a bunch of different renters and promoters. And so it's kind of hard to get one promoter to work with a different promoter and a different agent. And so that's not easy to pull off. But if both of the shows are shows that we're producing, or both of the shows are, for example, a Live Nation show, they can do both in one day. And so we call that double stacking. We'll be doing that quite a bit. And we expect to be really busy when we're open. The caveat is, what is the audience, what's the audience's bandwidth for it? We know that people are excited to go out. If I have 10 shows in a week, I don't know that there's enough audience to support it, but there's definitely, the shows will definitely be there.
So one of the difficulties with reopening venues, it seems like, so with restaurants, it's been super stop start all year, which is hard enough for restaurants, but even more difficult for venues when there's a lot more moving parts and you have to plan way in advance. So what happens if, hopefully the vaccine rollout goes great, but what happens if there isn't a point over, this summer when health officials can confidently say, yes, you can reopen and you won't have to reclose due to a spike or whatever?
Yeah, we just have to cancel. We have to roll with whatever those regulations are. We're taking the President of the United States' word that 4th of July things should be relatively normal. We're forecasting out a little bit beyond that and looking to mid to late July. Many of the other outdoor venues in the state are doing the same thing, and expecting that we will be able to open then, in spite of the lack of specific guidance at this point. To be fair to the state, they have replied to us, they have responded, they did have meetings with us, and they have continually updated the guidance. So it's just that we don't have the specific guidance that we need, like they just put out in California, where essentially 45 days after the vaccine is available, 30 to 45 days after the vaccine's available, California's open. That puts us in a difficult spot because Oregon's worked really hard. And Music Fest was a really excellent example of all of the city of Portland coming together, all the different promoters coming together, and really saying to the music industry on a national and international level, Portland is a great place to stop. Oregon is a wonderful state to perform in. And we've been working really, really hard. And now we find ourselves in a position where all of our neighboring states are able to announce and have shows, and bands are skipping Portland and they're skipping Oregon. And this has already started. Many events are canceled. Many events aren't going to happen in the same way already. And many bands are telling us, we aren't confident. And so we're skipping, and we are afraid that that will affect our entertainment industry for many years to come.